let's get into the front pages, by the way. Let's know what you think about the Polytechnic conversation. It's been the elephant in the room for quite some time. So let's know your thoughts on it. But let's switch gears now. We're joined on the program by Mr. Ambrose Igboke, who's the Chairman Guild of Public Affairs Analysts in Enugu State, joins us virtually on the program. Good morning, Mr. Igboke. Welcome to the program.
Good morning to everybody in the studio. It's good to be here.
Well, great to have you. We begin with the Vanguard newspaper. And as you would expect, Vanguard is leading with the Kaduna abductions. Rescue victims now. ACF, CAN, Sokapu, Ekwa, others tell FG. CAN president faults police statements, demands safe rescue of worshippers. Governor Sonny proactive despite conflicting reports. That's from Sokapu, Southern Kaduna. That's a forum for Southern Kaduna people. And so it's an act of violence, release abductees, PFN. ADA demands apology over police, LG chairman's cover-up. MBF lampoons police. And you see Governor Sonny saying we'll ensure safe return of abducted persons. This really doesn't look good because if really they denied in the first place, you wonder then just how much motivation do they have to really go after them? Right, because once you deny something, it means that you're lethargic. You probably do not want to follow through with it. But Mr. Igboke, what do you make of this?
No, first of all, I think it's very sad. Despite the efforts the IGP of police has been making recently to reform the police or posturing that he has been given that his police under his watch is trying to meet best practices. I'm a public relations consultant and reputation manager. The first thing you need to do when you have crisis situation or when you have information to give is to first of all try as much as possible to verify the facts. Ensure that what you're stating is true. But I think most of our government people, from the presidency down to the ministry people, all the departments, agencies, and the rest, they see public relations as a means of defending the actions of their principal, whether rightly or wrongly. And this is what they see it as propaganda tool. They see it as a means of denial, especially when the negative things happen. This should not be it. This is not how PR is. Public relations is about generating goodwill. It's about reputation management. It's about brand reputations as well. So when a police PRO rushes to, without verifying, without waiting for the intelligence reports, you just stay in Abuja, something happened in Kaduna, you have not contacted the military to find out what really happened. You have not contacted the DSS, the NIA, this thing's okay. I mean, you should work together. Then, before you go to the public and deny, something that drastic, that kind of tragedy that occurred, in Kaduna, Southern Kaduna. That is unfair to the victims. That is wickedness to Nigerians because we need to know the truth, and the police cannot deny us of the truth. Coming to why these things keep reoccurring, I don't know whether there's a big magic, because Kajuru and all those places have been flashpoints. So I mean, the common sense suggests that those places that have been flashpoints over more than 10 years ought to be heavily guarded. Southern Kaduna has been a flashpoint, Benue has been a flashpoint, Kogi, Plateau, and some of these places that have been flashpoints over the year. Why are we still leaving them open? Why are those places not heavily guarded? That we always do reactive, we're too reactive, we are not proactive. So people get kidnapped, or we say want to do, in fact, before we just, they will issue a press release asking God to come and intervene and wishing the family well. The federal government is with the family in this time of sorrow. If not that President Donald Trump of the United States just 2 months ago issued those threats, and then they make Nigeria a country of particular concern. That is even when the government and after they say, oh, we rescue. Before the rescue and whatever were left in the hands of the families and the negotiations and the rest. So this is not still good. Despite the $9 million that was paid to lobbyists, and they are telling that a screwdriver in somewhere, selling screwdriver somewhere, cost American money. The New York Times should be, I think they should tell the federal government of the United States should take them to court for ridiculing the United States military, saying that they went to drop billions of naira worth of bombs because of a screwdriver. I mean, these kind of things. Meanwhile, there were congressional hearings in the United States, and so many things, evidence put in before the Congress in the United States, and saying that there's genocide and all those things. Somebody is coming to say that it's a screwdriver. I mean, the person that wrote that article in the New York Times should be sacked, because it is bringing the New York Times to ridicule. But government, instead of government focusing on how to do preventive measures to ensure that these things don't happen, they are busy sending $9 million to a lobbyist. I mean, we keep on just running around in circles of ineffective activities.
All right, let's head to this Nigeria, which is our next port of call now. And of course, this focuses on one of the biggest stories from Wednesday. LP leadership tussle. Court sacks Usman. Court okays Usman rather, I beg your pardon. Abure kicks. Heads for appellate court. INEC ordered to list the Nadi group. Party loses bid to join FCT February 21 council polls. It's like, okay, I wonder if you're weighing in on the implications of this for the seeming unending leadership tussle of the Labour Party, as much as the timing of the delivery of this ruling by the High Court.
I strongly believe that those who are ensuring that the Labour Party does not see the end of the light of the day are those behind these shenanigans going on in the party. For me, I'm postulating that the end product is to ensure that the Labour Party does not even field candidates. Because by the time Abure goes to appeal court, and the appeal court even gives, let's say appeal court gives judgment in his favor, the other party will appeal maybe to the Supreme Court. And if the appeal court does not give in his favor, you can still appeal to the Supreme Court. But at the end of the day, by the time the elections are very close, INEC will tell you, oh, we don't know which party to recommend, or we are waiting for the courts to decide. And just as they're missing out in the Abuja elections, they may miss out in the general elections in the country. Something tells me that this is deliberate. Something tells me this is a playbook to ensure that the Labour Party does not even, have strong showing in the next election. Most of their their biggest assets in the person of P2B has already left the party, and so many others have left. I mean, it's very fortunate that the Labour Party could not ride on the successes that it established during the 2023 elections. One would have thought that by now the Labour Party would have been, the major, opposition party in the country. Going by the feats that are achieved during the 2023 election. But it's unfortunate that the success is rather diminished the party, and the party is almost operating like a carcass.
Interesting times, right? A lot of people are saying, so why did Mr. Peter Obi leave Labour Party? Should he have stayed? He has left now. Or should he just be careful and stay in ADC? Lots of permutations. But we move from this Nigeria to the front page of a Guardian newspaper, and also leads with the Labour Party matter. It's the LP leadership verdict alters opposition politics ahead of 2027. By the way, we have a big conversation for our viewers on the show today, so don't worry. We'll help you get a better understanding of what's at play here, and will I say what the future holds for the Labour Party. But you see, Mr. Ibuke, you see this World Economic Forum story, Trump swaps consensus for hard power rhetoric as FG showcases reforms. We saw Trump's speech Davos yesterday, and then afterwards he spoke to journalists, and a lot of people were expecting more drama, right? We're expecting earth-shattering, speech from Donald Trump, but he seemed to soft pedal a bit, even though it wasn't still quite clear on the way forward for Greenland. But do you think everybody can at least relax now with Trump's speech in Davos?
I was not one of those that believed that Donald Trump would have just rashly entered Greenland and then with military. Already they have a military base there. They have biggest military base in Greenland. So Trump's style is, kind of the bully style. The kind of negotiation where you go with a superiority complex, you intimidate the opponent, and then you now, backtrack. Having the opponent intimidated, you backtrack and say, okay, cool, we can now talk. At that time, the opponent or the person you are negotiating with is already sufficiently intimidated to give in to your demands. I think that has been a style. And you also have argued severally that America has not optimized its investment in NATO and some other multilateral agencies that it belongs to. So America formed NATO, and America cannot allow NATO to die because NATO acts as a buffer.
Oh dear, it appears as if we have... okay, Dr. Buke is back. Go ahead. We could hear you a bit again.
NATO acts as a buffer. NATO acts as a buffer for America because the whole of Europe acts as a buffer between it and Asia and some other countries that could have threatened their military, militarily. So they won't joke with that. And France, United States, and Britain are basically coins of the same make. So the tripartite cohesion between those three countries, I don't think Greenland can stop it. So I think Trump has made enough spread. The European Union leaders are going to meet with him, and then they're just going to negotiate what is going to happen there. And maybe he may just expand his military operations there, allow Denmark to run it, and then all is fine and good. But nothing like that is going to happen. When people are talking about Third World War and the rest, I say, who wants to die? Nobody wants to die. That is why everybody that has nuclear weapon has kept the nuke. They don't want to shoot because Chinese don't want to die, the Russians don't want to die, the Indians don't want to die, the French, British, or even the Americans don't want to die. So all these things are just high-level rhetorics to bargain and then get things done and have concessions here and there. And that is just what Trump is doing. And it has been working for him. And all this talk about the Prime Minister of Canada making all kind of blowing hot air and I just laughed. These things don't work that way. America is deeply entrenched. And these other countries also know what they are getting from the United States. So the United States will not want to rock the boat and lose NATO alliances. That is not going to happen.
Mm. And we're going to have a bigger view of that particular outing at the World Economic Forum yesterday on the program, because we also did hear President Trump if you like, soft but a bit of a hardlining stance when he said that he's probably not going to get anything if he didn't use force on Greenland, but he would not use force. And he also remarked on the relief expressed by the audience during that particular speech. So there's that conversation promises to be an interesting one much later on the program. But Dr. Ibuke, let's get to other issues on the front pages now. Speaking of which, taking a look at the Daily Independent, and of course it leads with reactions to Sunday to about Wednesday event in Kaduna, in Kajuru local government to be precise, with calls for accountability coming from the opposition. But under the big picture, on the front page of Daily Independent, is Nigeria's 2026 aviation budget sparks duplication debate. There are details on the inside pages, of course, but this is reminiscent of calls or condemnations of insertions into the 2026 budget by ministries, departments, and agencies. This is despite the fact that there are carryovers of the 2025 and in fact 2024 budget into a new budget year. How does this all impact on the deliverables of the 2026 budget, and of course all the other implications on met demands and expectations of the 2025 budget?
The first thing I think this will cause is that it leaves us, open to guesswork on our fiscal policies, on our budget implementation, on measurements of our GDP, on our economic growth. Because I don't know what kind of country operates this way, where, when you go to corporate entities, or corporate establishments, you see that how those things are done. You choose a financial end of the year, okay? And then you mark it. It could be June 31st, it could be May, it could be any time of the month. It doesn't mean that it must be January, okay? Now you choose your financial fiscal year ending, and then you budget for it, spend what you have to spend, fund deficits, and then you call for audits, and they're audited, and then at the month, the year end, financial year end, serious companies present their audited accounts, and if they have dividends to declare, they declare. If they have losses to declare, they declare. Now, if companies at that level could run this successfully, that fiscal cycle, then it is expected that a country should be able to also manage its budgetary plans that way. And so when we have Nigeria behaving this way, having three budgets in the same cycle, of course you expect this kind of duplications, you expect this kind of confusion to continue, because we are talking about 2024 budget. It was not retired, it was not ended, the fiscal year was not audited. We passed 2025 budget. We're running it concurrently. Some people say, oh, it will run to June. Some people say, oh, you retired in July. By July 1st, the new year starts running. But the budget for the new year started from January, and it's supposed to end in December. Now, if you allow the other one to run concurrently with other one, that was what we were seeing until the magic of last year happened, when we are having three budgets now running. So when they passed the 2026 budget without really ending the 2024 budget, I became confused. I said, well, I'm not an economist, but there's what we call, we all did our little economics in school, and of course, one has gone through life to know how these things work. I don't know whether the president listens, or whether it is those who are working with him or the ministries are doing this on purpose. Maybe there's something they're not telling us. But a situation where we have three budgets running at this concurrently will lead to duplications, will lead to a lot of fraud. Because how do you know you have executed the other one? And then you roll it over to 2025, you roll it over to 2036. Even if the other one has been done, how do you capture it? How do you close your book for the year ending? I think advocacy groups and civil society should take the federal government to court on this matter. Let's have a cycle, a budget cycle. If we don't meet it, the budget performance is very low. Sometimes, especially in capital expenditure, you see sometimes 30% performance, 40%. So why do we budget for the money we don't have in the first place? And then we keep on borrowing. We are not borrowing to even fund the deficit. We are borrowing for other frivolous reasons. This country sometimes defies economic logic, and that we are still standing is a miracle.
And the prayer is that we keep standing strong, or get better at this. But Mr. Ibuke, the final one for us is New Telegraph, and leads with war against terrorism. You can almost predict the big stories on the front page at this rate. If it's not about security, it's about the politics of things. But you see, troops discover mass grave of terrorists killed during clearance operations. Discredit insurgents' propaganda narratives. And there's also the story on the Kaduna abduction denial. But this is a side of the conversation that must also be told. The great work that our troops are doing, in spite of some of the, would I say, the letdowns they have in terms of perhaps infrastructure, in terms of welfare. They still do a yeoman's job, putting their lives on the line, protecting Nigerians. So there needs to be that combating of propaganda from the terrorists as well. Mr. Ibuke.
I remember that when strike by the United States on December 25th, 2025, after the operation, some people started going around town that, there was nobody killed, not one single, we didn't see dead bodies, we didn't see that. I said, well, it is not conventional war practice to start showing dead bodies. These things can be done by non-state actors, but state actors don't do that. So you are not expected to be showing. In fact, you're supposed to clear the operational areas before even journalists or people come there. And when you have these photos or videos, it's supposed to be classified and kept for military operations and references, and not for gallery or newspapers or media channels. So I just laughed at that because we are used to showing them, but we don't have value, we don't have sanctity for the human body or for the human being in Nigeria. So we think everybody else performs that way. Dead bodies are not supposed to be displayed. You know, those days of particular mainstream media, you find out that you don't do that. It's when citizen journalism came and with access to internet, and the people who were not trained not to do so are doing so. But also, when terrorists attack villages and the rest, the only proof, because the security agencies and the rest, while they are doing their best, the state, the federal government in most of the cases has failed the people. So the only proof that the people needed to do to show that people were being massacred was to show the pictures and photos and videos. And that was what they have been forced to do, because there were a lot of denials. While we celebrate our military, it's okay to give the numbers, to give the stats. Our military are doing their best. But most of the time, what I always say is the political will, that our military are, are some of the best in the world. But what sometimes don't make them happen, because they're under command and control. They cannot just take their own initiative to just, they have to take orders. And then sometimes it's the political will to execute these things that are missing, because the terrorists and the bandits, or whatever name you call them, have been politicized in this country. The issues are around them. When America said there was genocide, some people say, it was not only Christians that were killed. Imagine the kind of defense that our people bring up. So Muslims are killed, so Christians are killed. So that is the defense that instead of saying, okay, give us time, we're going to tackle this, have a timeline of routing it out and the rest. So our military should not be do not have the euphoria to start. For me, even this is classified. They should not even say it, that there are mass graves discovered. Who puts them in mass grave? Is it the government? Is it the troops that said that put them in, or is it the terrorists themselves that buried the mass graves? We need to know this information. But sometimes some information are better classified. And for our troops, it is when the people start feeling safe again that they will really believe that they are working. Every other thing, even though they are working hard to do this thing, one of my bosses in my former places of work told me that it is not the outputs, that is the activities, the efforts you make and all those things. It is the outcome, the results you get. When people start being safe, and when people can travel without being kidnapped, when communities can stay safe without being invaded by terrorists, and when people can go to churches and mosques and pray without fear of being bombarded, then the people will know that the government is working. But all this thing about discovering mass grave and the rest, and kidnapping are still going on, and people are still kidnapped from their homes and churches, people are still being massacred, then it becomes mere propaganda.
There you go. But there's also the story on the front page at the bottom. Controversy rocks 1 billion naira constituency project fund in Rivers State Assembly as revelation stalls impeachment proceedings. And you see a lawmaker saying we're expecting 650 million naira balance. So there's a mix of politics and real governance issues in Rivers State. While there's a politics around the governor, the lawmakers, there's also the issues about governance, spending of budgetary expenses, which is the commonwealth of the people of Rivers State. What exactly is it being used for? Because amidst all of this back and forth, it looks like some people are just having a field day with the money of Rivers State and the people themselves. It's a page to read for those who are interested. But Mr. Ibuke, do you think this is like the biggest casualty in all of this?
Well, I've always maintained that what is happening in rivers is not for the good people of River State. It's just mere politics. These are, political actors trying to perpetuate themselves in power, try to take over the levers of control of both political parties and the political structure of the state. These are people trying to grandstand. These are people engaged in ego trips and all those kind of things. The members of the House of Assembly, of course, we know are not acting on their own. They are taking instructions from their godfather. And whatever they are doing is not for the good people of Rivers State. But politicians in Nigeria, they will cloak it, decorate it, perfume it as if they are fighting for the people or fighting for democracy. And we can see that while the Rivers State House of Assembly members were shouting good governance, democracy, we have to protect our democracy, we can see that behind they have a lot of questions to answer in constituency projects allocated to them last year, I think during the state of emergency. They have not accounted for that, and they're asking for more money for appropriation from the governor. So it's a very dirty fight. The money, even if it is 650 million or the 1 billion, what have they done? Some of them will just go and put solar street lights. Some of them will go and paint some primary schools, renovate them, or put some few blocks of health center somewhere. And so it's about accountability. Nigeria, we don't want accountability. We don't even want to interrogate those who are at the helm of affairs. Everybody just wants to. Most people just want to waste for their turn. Or it's a turn of our village man. It's a turn of our party people. It's a turn of the north. Is when it's your turn, enjoy. That is how we run this country. It's a pity.
It is. And you forgot to add the borehole as well. Yes, a lot of people who need the borehole, but it looks like that is the MO. There's a list of things they must do. But we have to thank you so much, Mr. Ambrose.
Distribution of sewing machines and motorbikes.
Oh, goodness me. Classic. Mr. Ambrose, we have to thank you so much for your time. Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analysts, Enugu State. Wish you the very best, Mr. Agboke.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we continue to follow the events in Kaduna State. Nigerians, or they need Nigerians right now to do right by them and to ensure that this conversation stays on the front burner. I'll be speaking with someone from there in a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.